Welcome to the podcast, Kill Complacency. Here we inspire intentional living by motivating others to handle hard better. And here's your host, Marty Hofmann.
Roshan Kalra, episode number 2, we're going to be learning about how he went from dentist to general partner who raises millions of dollars. He uses his local influence to raise money, and really interesting. You know, anyone can do what he's doing, but he's just really on passion and on fire for financial freedom and inspiring to listen to. And I hope that you guys get a lot out of this. I know I did. Some of this might be over a little bit of your heads, but that's how we learn. So tune in and stay tuned and all that good stuff. So let's now talk a little bit about real estate. So you bought your package, you're off to the races, and you just started. Did you have a partnership, or did you just do it on your own initially? I mean, how did that?
Yeah, so I've had, I think, 3 pivotal moments that have exponentially increased my holdings and my assets. The first was when I learned about the BRRRR strategy.
Okay.
The first purchase of 8 was all rented.
Mm-hmm.
You know, within a month they went to half rented, and I learned very quickly what needed to happen because this guy knew his tenants personally and was always on top of them.
They were out.
And they weren't, and so as soon as I bought them, they weren't paying. And so then we had to get rid of some, evict one. It was crazy. But I learned a lot through that. But then when I started learning the BRRRR method of buying houses that actually need work, fixing them up, being able to refi, get your money out, then I had an explosion of growth. That took me from those 8 houses to about 20 houses. And even with the BRRRR method, sometimes you're not perfect, and sometimes you have 5-10% in the house. And so I realized I could do this better, and I could do it better because at that point I had started posting online in other people's Facebook groups about what I was doing. And again, it comes down to I just wanted to show other people what's possible. Yeah. Hey, I'm doing this. I haven't made a name of myself. I haven't done anything really noteworthy, but I bought this house. Here's going to make $250 of cash flow, and I bought it for $50K, right? And that's $10K down. And now I'm starting to do the BRRRR method. It's starting to show that as well. And from that, someone reached out to me, and he's like, hey, I'm a dentist in Oklahoma City. I'd love to see if there's a way we could work together. The first time, it didn't work out. I actually tried to wholesale the 8 houses to him, and he's like, no, I don't want to do that. But then, you know, I kept posting on Facebook, and a year later, he reached out again, and he was like, hey, I really think we should meet up again. And at that point, we came up with a partnership, and to date, I've never heard of anyone using a similar partnership, so I'm not going to call it mine, but I will say it's a unique partnership. The way it works is, let's say we have a $10,000 down payment.
Okay. My
partner puts that whole $10,000 down payment as from his cash.
Yeah.
Then I write him a mortgage of $5,000, so my 50% of the down payment with 5% interest. At that time, interest was like 4 and 3.5, so 5% was good. Now it's more than that, but we still keep the 5%. So I am owing him my half of the down payment plus 5% interest, and in return, he's the equity, like the money partner.
Yeah.
I'm everything else: the managing, the contractors, dealing with taxes. Like I put everything together, send it to my accountant, and everything like that.
You're like the operator.
Exactly. And so what that did is, and we split cash flow 50-50.
Is he pretty silent? Is he like a silent partner?
Yeah, he doesn't want to be involved.
Yeah.
So he's more.
So he gives you the money, and then in a sense, he finances your down payment back.
He finances my down payment back. Yep.
And as a result, he kind of drifts to the background, and you
do what I do.
You do. Yeah. You run the operations of it.
Yeah. And so what happened was we split cash flow 50-50, and my goal was, because my mortgage notes to him were over 5 years, I want my 50% of the cash flow to pay him off.
Sure.
And essentially, in 5 years, once I'm done paying him off, I will have these properties
50% owned.
50% owned.
With zero in.
With zero in. And some of these we BRRR'd, and I paid off the mortgage early through the BRRRR. So if it BRRRs, great. If it doesn't BRRRR, still great.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter anymore if it was a BRRRR because I had someone like him that believed in the vision. And that took me from 20 units to now I think we're at like 55.
So the cool thing about real estate, Roshan, is that you can be creative, right?
Yeah.
You can do it any way you want. And people do similar deals with homeowners. They'll say, hey, I'll give you X amount down, but you got to owner finance it, right? I mean, you can do it with partners. I mean, there's
limitless ways to be creative.
Limitless. It's just a matter of using your brain.
Yeah.
So often we get focused on one way and we think, well, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But to your point, you said you're maybe the only one. I bet there's someone else. But
yeah, but I've never heard of it. But
it's cool.
And this is a way where it created checks and balance system, because if I just put properties under contract that didn't cash flow, well, then not only would I be paying my down payment back, but I'd be paying it back with interest.
Yeah.
And so I would be hurting myself if this property didn't cash flow. So the checks and balances was inherent in this system and this partnership. And then as my reach grew and my income grew and my cash available grew, I actually started doing that with commercial properties. And so now I own 3 commercial properties. The last one, the only difference in that partnership is I changed it from a 5-year to a 10-year payback. And that's how I'm doing them now, is 10-year paybacks. And eventually the amount of work and knowledge I know about commercial will be worth them just putting in the money, and I'll be worth the equity just because of what I bring to the table.
I'm sure you've heard of Ken McElroy.
Yeah.
He did property management. He's
huge.
He's huge now. Yeah. But that's how he started. He would say, hey, I'm doing property management. And he would come to investors and say, hey, here's a really good deal. You guys can buy in, but I get 10%.
Yep.
And then I think his property management team that company probably paid his property management team to do it. But essentially he was bringing the deal, making sure the operations went through. And then he just held, I'm pretty sure that's how he talks about, is it the ABCs of real estate investing he has? I think
that is.
Yeah. And that's how he did it. And it's cool. Like, and it was really cool for him because he's in the weeds. He knows about these distressed apartments and he could buy them at a discount. So he was helping his investors out, but it was a beautiful team. So
yeah. Every partnership needs 3 things: time, expertise, and money. So if I could bring time and expertise and someone could bring money, or if I could bring time and someone brought money and expertise, whatever the case is, as long as a partnership has those 3 things, it can work, at least on paper. Then, of course, personalities need to match. And, anytime you get into a partnership, it's like marrying someone. So all of that needs to match. But time, expertise, and money, as long as those 3 are checked off, then a partnership can theoretically work. And that's really what we're doing.
I got asked this week, I was on another podcast, and he said, well, most partnerships don't work. What have you done to make yours work? And I said, well, honestly, in a partnership, it can't be a tit for tat. It has to be like a marriage in the sense of, this is my role, this is what I'm going to do. This is your role, this is what you're going to do. And we're at the end of the day, we're going to be forgiving and kind, and, whatever happens, happens. But I think when you get tit for tat about it, that's when it
starts going downhill.
Yeah, because you get bitter and you're like, this isn't fair, and blah, 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 blah. So
yeah, absolutely agree with you.
But also having your terms up front. Sounds like you and your original, you guys define those things. You still have those defined.
Yep.
And everybody understands their role and their position, and so that's cool.
Yeah. It's, I'm gonna knock on wood here. I've yet to, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I don't have a partnership that has gone wrong yet. And I've been very fortunate to enter and exit out of partnerships very, very happily. And so, yeah, so to date, every partnership has only served to help. And I think exactly what you said, knowing what everything defined roles are in advance, up front, and everyone seeing that we're working collectively towards a greater purpose, that really helps bring people together. And just, you need people to see and believe in the vision.
Yeah, for sure.
You need people to buy in. And if they don't buy in, then it's not worth sharing with them.
They're going to ask 1,000 questions and waste your time.
Yeah.
So you started dabbling in commercial.
Yep.
You still do a little residential?
Yeah, I still flip houses. I still I mean, I can't find a rental that cash flows to my metrics by any means. I find very, very few of those. So I started a wholesaling company recently and been doing flips with that. And that's just
Did you start that? I'm curious. Did you start that to fund your deals, or was it to actually have a business of wholesaling?
there was a couple of reasons. One was I couldn't find single families to cash flow, and I figured if I'm not getting them direct to seller, I will never find them that will cash flow. And my cash flow metrics are, I found out, more stringent than most people's. And so I wanted to have more access to quality deals. And the second was I was able to retire my wife about 2 or 3 years ago. And since she's not had a 9 to 5, she's kind of felt like purposeless. And so this was a great way to bring her in some way that she would be happy and I would be happy. She works the admin and transaction coordinator roles as well as the marketing role for our business. And so giving her something to do, it has been hugely helpful for her mental health as well as, her feeling like accomplished at the end of the day, which was lacking when she had nothing to do.
Yeah. No, God created us to
be
serve
productive
and work and do things. It's not... We all want to sit around and do our own thing, but it's not how God designed us at all.
Yeah. And so the money from the wholesaling is an additional benefit, but was never really the main purpose. It was just more deals.
Mostly to find the asset that cash flows.
Yeah, find the asset that cash flows and also help my wife out with something that she could wake up and have ownership over.
That's cool. Wholesaling, and I know... you guys are doing a little bit of syndications with some bigger commercial things with RV parks and daycares and all kinds of bigger things. Let's talk syndications a little bit.
Yeah.
How's that work on your end? Is it a similar, you hold equity position for bringing the deal, finding the deal, managing the deal? Is it similar?
Yeah, so it's totally different than the partnerships that I've just talked about. Those partnerships are ones that I own and have equity in myself. This, when I have a partner named Nathan Ho, he's a dentist out of Dallas. Him and I run the biggest Facebook group for real estate for dentists in I guess the country or maybe even the world. It has 12,000 dentists in it.
Wow.
And from that group, we started realizing that some dentists don't want to spend the time to become operators or learn how to become operators. They simply want an option for putting their money to work, and they want to do some vetting, but they want someone else to do vetting as well. And so that's really where we come into play. Nathan and I, what we do is we partner up with a couple different syndicators, one for multifamily apartments and developments, another for RV parks. And they present us, usually the syndicators will present us their underwriting and their deal, and then we will go through our own talks between us as well as going through line by line item of these underwriting, these huge, massive Excel sheets. I don't know if you've ever seen a multifamily underwriting, but they're like 20 tabs big, and they're very detailed, and they have extreme granular detail in them. And so we go line by line and see if this all makes sense. And we're like, all right, well, if pavement, like redoing pavement is $1,000, we're going to get some, huge red flags there. Like, why is pavement only $1,000 on a multifamily? It should be around like $50,000 or $80,000. Does this make sense? Okay, you're trying to bump up rents. Well, let's see the comps. Does that bumping up rents fall in line with what we believe to be accurate as well? And so we've actually been offered to raise money for about 6 or 7 deals this year.
Okay.
And we just agreed to our second. So it's like 1 out of 3 that we're actually agreeing to, even though these are the syndicators that we work with. And then when we get those deals, we will present them to our group, to our friends, our family, as well as dentists in the 12,000 person dentist group called Real Estate Investment for Dentists. And if they want to invest, great. If they don't want to invest, also great. Doesn't matter. Doesn't hurt my feelings. But it provides an option for them to invest. And then for doing all the vetting and all those, our compensation is on the back end. Is we become a co-GP. It's called general partner, and it's a small percentage, of these properties. Extremely small percentage. But that's how we'll essentially get compensated for doing our work and raising the money.
So you become an equity holder
Of,
with
of the GP, yeah.
of the GP
Yeah.
without cash down.
Well, we actually, Nathan and I invest in every single deal we raise.
Sure.
So
But
there is cash involved.
is the money you put down, because the money you put down gets broke down to a percentage of ownership, right?
Not quite, no, because the SEC doesn't allow you to get straight paid off of how much money you raise. So there can be like tier systems and things like that. You can't just raise X amount of money and get paid X divided by that much money. Like it can't be a straight percentage. That's actually illegal.
Okay. So you guys put money in it, but then you also get a percentage of the GP.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys finding, as you're analyzing different opportunities, are you finding anything that is cash flows better that gets you excited?
So in the syndication or on like the personal investment side?
No, on the syndication. As you guys are looking at these, would you tell me you looked at 6 deals and you
this year? And I mean, throughout we've probably looked at around 50 to 60. Yeah, probably more than that.
I mean, is there like, here's my question: is there a certain asset class that you just see it and you're just like, it's not going to work, as opposed to another where you're like, ooh, an RV park. These have been doing good. Let me check this one out.
So I'll tell you which one we said we wouldn't raise money for. It was a brand new Class A development in a good city. However, it was in a Class C area. So
location.
Right. So the numbers in terms of rent and cost to build did kind of make sense. Rent we thought was a little high, but within plausibility. And certainly, if we get rents like what we did last couple of years and how they've raised, it's certainly
But you don't
doable.
know.
You don't know, right? But it's within plausibility. Was it on the higher side? Yes. Was it the highest? No, it wasn't the highest. And it was a brand new building, so it makes sense that it would be on the higher side. However, when they go and they try to sell this, and the assumption is you're going to sell at a certain cap rate, but then you look at the location, you're like, well, I feel like a buyer would come in here and do a tour and immediately be turned off by the fact that there's like a house with graffiti on it right opposite
across
of this
the
apartment
street.
complex. And then we start to feel really uncomfortable with this idea of stamping this with our approval. Because sure, Nathan and I can get paid for raising money for any deal, but we're putting in our own money on these deals, and we're invested just like our limited partners
it's your
are.
reputation.
And then our reputation as well. So if it doesn't work out, it's going to be really tough on everyone. And so we didn't like that one. As far as cash flow in multifamily, no multifamily truly cash flows. Like when I say truly, I mean principal and interest loan payments. The way every syndicator in the country is making apartments cash flow is by interest-only payments. So they go in, they find somewhere where they can value add either new construction or remodeling or adding garages, anywhere where they can value add, and generally multiple avenues.
Yeah.
Increase the NOI, and then because the NOI means net operating income, and because businesses are basically sold off of a multiple of cash flow, multifamily cash flow is NOI. So then you increase NOI by $1. Well, at a 5 cap, you're actually selling your building for $20 more. You increase it by $1 million, that means you're selling it by $20 million more. And so some of these are absolutely, there are $50 million apartment complexes that we raised some money for, and they're going to try to raise NOI by $500,000 to $600,000 and sell at a 5.5, 6 cap rate. And that might mean that they increase the value by $15 million, $17 million.
And Roshan, this is when they're looking at a 5 to 7 year exit, right?
Yeah,
That they're doing a strategy.
Traditionally, it's 5 year. Sometimes on some syndications, it'll be 7 years. Between 2019 and 2022, syndications were selling so quickly, and they were hitting the projections so quickly because of rent growth that a lot of syndicators sold their properties within 2 to 3 years. But now we're starting to see the other side of that, which is the slowdown. And so now it's typically a 5-year hold, which was always kind of the standard, but now it's typically that standard. And some deals might present as a 5 to 7 year hold.
What would be the difference with somebody like Ken McElroy, who has talked about refinancing 2-3 times on a complex. Is he structuring it? His structure is more long-term debt. I mean, how would his structure look different from that?
Yeah.
Is he cash flowing?
If he's refinancing in today's rates, I cannot imagine that he's cash flowing on a principal and interest unless, we briefly talked about it before this podcast, maybe 40 or 50 year term.
Yeah.
Which, if it's a 40 or 50 year term, you're not intending to pay it off anyway. So I don't even understand why it would be a principal and interest on a 40 or 50 year term.
Yeah.
Because there's no actual commitment to paying this loan off. So you might as well just have it interest only at that point, in my opinion. But the only way these things cash flow are interest only. Now, I want to say on the other side, RV parks present really great opportunity because most of those are still mom and pop owned. And so when you come in there and you do a little bit of value add, you can find that one, it was cash flowing when you bought it as is, and two, it can cash flow way more when you start putting in proper management and increased maybe new
Technology.
RV spots, more
freshen them up.
efficiencies. Like on this latest RV park that we're raising money for, it's called God's Creek in Shreveport, Louisiana. There's 85 RV spots, and we're going to add 75 new ones. And when I say we, I mean the operator, but we're part of that as well. And there's 10 log cabins. They're going to add 20 more. And so that's going to increase the NOI. And then when it gets sold, because now you went from 10 to 30, that's 3 times more log cabins. And you went from 85 to plus now 75 more. That's almost doubling the RV spots. NOI is going to explode.
It's going to be huge.
And then the multiple of that is going to be even higher, which really makes for a slam dunk in terms of cash flow as well as the sell.
I met a guy this last year who was buying old RV parks, mostly for the infrastructure. No, old mobile home parks or RV parks. But he won the infrastructure, and then he was pulling out all that old 1980 single wides and building tiny homes. And he'd be out of pocket $50,000-$60,000, but he was renting them out for $2,200 a month.
Wow.
And he would rent them to oil. He was in Texas. He would rent them out to oil field workers at $75 a night. So, yeah, you're in $60K before your land purchase. But your rent is
cash flow monster.
$2,200.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Cash flow monster. So that's really where, syndications generally, the normal terms in today's 2024 July, the normal terms that you're going to see is about a 2x multiple, which means that if you put $100K into a syndication in 5 years, when it flips, you should expect $200,000 total from your cash flow distributions as well as the sale profits, right? And that's normal. And I think that you can get that both through multifamily and RV. It's just different methods.
Sure.
Whereas the RV may not have as big of a multiple in terms of, like, you have $1 from NOI on a multifamily, that increases valuation by 20, whereas $1 of NOI only increases it by 12 on a RV park. And so,
but your buy-in's going to be so much cheaper.
But your buy-in's
and your
cheaper.
System and
So you get
liability. Your liability would be so much less too.
I think it's just easier in many ways. It could be easier.
Because you own the dirt, not the building.
Yeah, and especially with RV parks, because RV parks and mobile homes are different. We don't have long-term rentals.
Sure.
They're all, like you said,
days.
the $75 a night or 30-day, month-long RV, someone who's coming through. And so you'll find RV parks to have higher cash flow but a lower profit from the sale. Multifamily to have very little cash flow but most of the profit from the sale. Both are very doable ways to make money in syndications.
Hey, just wanted to thank you guys for listening to the end. In closing, I just wanted to add that if this message resonates with you, if it aligns with your values, and something in it today triggered something, then you can also look me up on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. We are really trying to help people live more intentional lives to kill the complacency with which they have subscribed to. I know there's many ways which I get sucked in all the time. So if this is beneficial, follow me there, spread the message, share, And if you want to wear a billboard of a message of kill complacency or live intentionally, then check out my merch store in show notes as well. But it's www.mindsetshop.com. Mindset is with an X, so it's MINDXET shop, SHOP.com. Mindsetshop.com. Check it out. Thank you guys so much, and have a great one.
Thank you for listening to Kill Complacency. Follow and share our podcast to change lives and inspire growth.